Hi there, welcome back to GeeklyEDU Biology. In this video, we're going to talk about the structure of amino acids, which are basically the building blocks for almost all life. So the first thing that we have to ask ourselves when talking about amino acid structure is, what is an amino acid? Amino acids are essentially the building blocks of proteins, and proteins are really important to compose different parts of the cell and also facilitate different processes in the cell. So they are really also kind of the building blocks of all life. And to create proteins, RNA, which is originally transcribed from DNA, is then translated into the amino acid sequence of a protein. So the RNA will give the different amino acids, which are strung along here, which then are composed into our polypeptide chain or protein. And so each of these different amino acids that are within our protein sequence all share a similar base structure, which is shown here. And so this base structure is on each of the 20 common amino acids that create all proteins. Honing in a bit more on this base structure of amino acids, so this is what it commonly looks like within a figure. Starting with the left-hand side, we have our basic amino group. So this is nitrogen and hydrogens. And then we have our what's called organic R group. And this is the part of our amino acid structure that is variable. So we'll have 20 different R group molecules, which will lead to the 20 different common amino acids in our bodies. And then here we have our acidic carboxyl group. And then looking at the names of these different parts of our amino acid, we can kind of understand where the name amino acid comes from, because we have our amino group and then our acidic carboxyl group. And then finally, holding it all together, we have our what's called alpha carbon, or it's also referred to as a chiral carbon. So the 20 different amino acids that create all of the proteins in our bodies can really be grouped together into two main categories. The first of which are amino acids that are polar, and we can call these types of amino acids as being hydrophilic. Looking at this word hydrophilic, hydro basically just means water, and philic means loving. So these are the amino acids that are really happy being in water and binding to water molecules. And then the other type are non-polar amino acids, or hydrophobic. So looking at this word, again, hydro means water, and then phobic means fearing. For example, say you have a phobia, right? So you're fearing water here. And it's important that we have both these types of amino acids, as almost all living things have water in their body. So amino acids have to be able to both be in water, but then also be inside our cells and keep water out. And then on top of this, the 20 amino acids can be further categorized based on characteristics such as their charge, so if they're positively or negatively charged, their ability to form hydrogen bonds, and whether they are acidic or basic, so based on their pH. And these characteristics of amino acids are really important as they can inform the protein structure. So the protein structure comes from the different bonds based on the charges and the acidity of the amino acids in the protein. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go to the video on levels of protein structure. Finally, I just want to briefly touch on the chirality of amino acids. So all amino acids, except for the simplest form, glycine, can exist in two optically active asymmetric forms termed enantiomers. And so this sounds very complex, but basically when we're talking about chirality or talking about enantiomers, it basically just refers to the idea that every amino acid can be a mirror image from itself. So we can have one amino acid in this shape or another one in the mirror image of that shape. So if we overlaid this on top of the other, it wouldn't match up, but if we put a mirror, then it would. And so this different chirality or this different structure of amino acids can come in two forms called the L and the D form. So we would have one which is the L form and then the other which is the D, and they are mirror images of each other. And most amino acids actually are in the L form, as the enzymes that evolved to create proteins are more regularly used to create that form. But it's also helpful to have the D form as well, as a lot of the biochemical processes will have different uses for the different forms in our bodies. That's the end of this video. I hope that you learned something about amino acids and why they have this distinct structure in our bodies. If you want to learn more about other biological topics or other scientific topics, please subscribe for more. Thanks.